Davis is a longtime motorcycle stunt rider who has spent more than 30 years in show business. He has performed, coordinated, and directed stunts in over 700 films, television episodes, and commercials. Life has come full circle for Gary Davis, and the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame is proud to welcome him to its ranks. I got to tell you, I've known this man for over 40 years. I've ridden with him all that time, and I worked with him many times, and I have been in awe of what he does from the moment I met him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gary Davis. Presenting the Hall of Fame ring to Gary Davis is another motorcycle magician, three-time Southern California Trials champion and Hall of Famer Bill Brokaw.
Gary Davis, in recognition of your enduring contributions for over 30 years as a stunt performer, coordinator, and director in hundreds of films and broadcast shows and commercials, it is my great honor to induct you into the American Motorcyclist Association Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it go for it. Yeah, you will. Thank you all so very much. I promise you this means everything to me. I'm so proud to be part of an organization that has done so much good for our community of motorcyclists. And then there's this. This is terrific. You know, I've had lots of surprises in my life, but none of them compares to when I got a phone call in the middle of the night from Ken advising me that I was being honored here. And this is the truth. I thought I was being punked. I couldn't really figure out who was on the other end of the line. I didn't figure many people outside of Hollywood even knew my name anymore. I spent 45 years of my life always being other people. When I leave a movie set, the actor gets to say he or she did the stunt. And the general public never needs to know who really was on the bike or behind the wheel. I did care, of course, that the studios and the producers and the crew members all knew that it was Gary Davis, so that I would continue to get phone calls and get to do more projects. One of the most important factors, Perry made mention on the video, in the stunt business is that I have an engineering degree and my minor was in physics. I use physics every day of my life. As a daredevil, I made 312 public jumps around the world, and I never crashed. Maybe that's why no one knew my name, too. And clearly that's not because I was a special rider on a motorcycle. I just set my bikes and my ramps up correctly, and then I go the right speed. To ensure that I go the right speed, my motorcycles have two speedometers, one on the front wheel and one on the rear wheel. If they both say I'm doing 92 miles an hour, I figure I'm probably doing 92 miles an hour. Then in 1973, I received a phone call from CBS in Hollywood. The producers said they had a young actor named Sam Elliott who was going to play Evel Knievel in a television pilot, a movie of the week. And they needed someone to jump 20 cars while they blew both the ramps up and then land that Harley Davidson on the dirt amongst flames and debris and ashes. Oddly, that sounded kind of fun. So I joined the union and quit being a daredevil and became a Hollywood stuntman. A couple of years later, Evel Knievel called me and insisted that I do all his riding in a film that he was going to star in called Viva Knievel. Now, along with all kinds of wheelies and chases and all that kind of stuff, my job would include me doing one successful 95-mile-an-hour jump, and then something that I had tried to avoid my whole life, one ramp-to-ramp crash landing jump over an open cage of lions and tigers. I didn't really care what I jumped over because I really never planned on making it short. So on that one, I left the ramp, back looped the bike in the air, and tossed it in front of me to get it away from me, and then landed on the landing ramp on my back at 85 miles an hour. Now, my job is to make him look like he got hurt, so I had to dig my heels into the ramp and start my body flipping end over end over end down the ramp and across the field. Having to make him look hurt is my deal, right? I then had to do another 85-mile-an-hour jump where I had to land on the rear wheel on the landing ramp. And before my front wheel touched down, I had to turn the bars 90 degrees sideways, hold on the brake, and when the wheel came down, the bike and I were now married to each other. We were tangled up all the way down the ramp and across the field. Now, I'm not usually too worried about how bad I'm getting hurt. I lay on the ground afterwards and check on my fingers and do all that kind of stuff. And I was okay through both of those jumps. So I did, however, Perry asked me to mention this, and I did piss blood for about a week after that crash. I apologize. I apologize to some of you in the audience. Okay, so as bad as those two crashes might have sounded, the stunt that bothered me and frightened me the most was only a 40-mile-an-hour jump. I had to ride the Harley down a mountain, and when I got to the cliff at the end, I had to jump it off into the air, hoping that the tractor-trailer semi that was coming through the tunnel going through that mountain was going to be there at the same speed that I landed on top of it. I was fortunate and did land on the trailer and then laid the bike down immediately so it and I wouldn't go off the end of the trailer. There really wasn't much room for error on that one. I've worked on hundreds of movies films in the business and had to do some pretty crazy stuff. One was on that motorcycle over there. I jumped it off the top of Folsom Prison portraying Captain America. I've jumped over pretty much every imaginable object, gap, or creature that there is. In '76, I did a backflip on a Bultaco off a second-story roof while being chased by a dozen lions. I've had to run a motorcycle between the tracks on the railroad, headed straight toward a very big locomotive, and I had to beat it to the intersection so that I could get out from between the tracks without becoming a grill ornament. On motorcycles, I've done laydowns, high sides, endos, back loops, cable offs. You probably don't know what a cable off is. It's when you attach two cables to the front axle of your motorcycle, and when the director calls action, you take off and start shifting gears until you run out of cable. When you run out of cable, the bike immediately turns over. If you're fortunate enough to sit back far enough on the bike, it throws you pretty far. If you're sitting too far forward, you don't go anywhere. It just turns over on you. I've done back loops, cable offs, as I said. I've done T-bones into cars, T-bones into center dividers and freeways, T-bones into logs, wheelies, jumps through windows, jumps through the roof, landing on tables. The list of different types of crashes goes on and on. And on at least 1/3 of all those crashes I just named, I had to do without a helmet. I've gone home sore on many days. I've had to get up in the morning and soak in the tub so I could get the sheets off of the skin that I was missing. On many of those things, I left the set asleep. Wearing a helmet wasn't an option, so sometimes I got a little cuckoo. I've been riding motorcycles for over 50 years, and the most popular consensus is that I've done a lot of pretty stupid things on motorcycles. But with all that said, to this day, I have never, ever broken a bone on a motorcycle. Motorcycles have been very, very good to me. I love motorcycles, and I love motorcycle people. Thank you so very much.